Welcome in, everyone. Thanks for joining us on tonight's episode of Mini Paint and Chill, where Chris and I and a guest paint some minis and chill out. Quick things out of the way. If you haven't already, follow the channel. Consider subscribing if you have the money for it. We understand it's a tough time, but we would really appreciate it. Don't forget to resubscribe if you Twitch Prime subscribed. That's important. And follow us on all our socials. I will post them in the chat real quick. But we have a special guest today. If you don't know him, you should. He's a master at 5.5 hour streams of mini painting. From the TableTroop and the Mines of Moria, Djinn in my glass, please. It's the Balrog, Mr. Robert.
Hell yeah. He thick. Oh shit.
Well, we are working on some Djinn tonight. I stopped by our friendly local game store and picked up some of the Genie, specifically the Air. So I'm excited to see that. Also, coming in clutch with the posture check, hydrate, and stretch back to back is Idiot Goblin. I'm drinking a nondescript seltzer water that happened to come out with a very higher alcohol content rendition of itself.
I haven't tried those yet.
Less, like, a little sweeter and, like, very alcohol-y bitter.
Well, there's only a few different, like, hard seltzers that I've actually enjoyed. Because a lot of them, it's just too... It is too much just seltzer. And there's... You know, it's like drinking a LaCroix.
Yeah.
Like, that has an alcoholic aftertaste, sort of. Speaking of which, ProZD did a taste test of all 14 different LaCroix flavors.
Yeah.
Haven't watched it yet.
Like the Oreo one that we watched back in the day?
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's like when he ranks them, none of them are above a C, because how could they be?
Yeah. What's up, Brett? Thanks for joining us. Also, we're doing great, Idiot Goblin. Also, Rob, I just realized if you want to give yourself another shout out, you were muted because I'm dumb.
Oh, I was muted the whole time.
Well, you know, nothing new with audio problems on this channel.
No, TableTroop. We do things and stuff. I paint minis now. I'm hoping to do it maybe at least twice a week going forward. You know, maybe Sundays and Thursdays. I haven't quite decided yet, but...
What's that?
It's cool.
Yeah. TableTroop. Actually, I should bring up...
I gave you guys a
stream
shout
up on
out.
a browser, too.
Yeah.
I've got to grab...
Technical difficulties. Technical difficulties is the middle name. That's the,
Stream of technical difficulties.
Many
the
things.
stream of technical difficulties.
Many things. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Let's see
Stream
if I
of
can
many
get this.
technical difficulties. I have to go grab some paper towels.
Okay. Yeah, I completely forgot to grab mine. Let's see, what am I gonna do for the color here?
I'm probably gonna do them like the greenish.
I want to do the, like, blue color. I think I'm gonna... Let's see if I can get this color out.
The stream of many technologically aimed curse words.
Yep. That's it. That's us. Oh. Oh, what was that? What did I miss?
Should actually probably put this
Oh,
on my
look
social.
at you! Billy just gifted us 5 subs. What a wonderful, wonderful individual. I love you,
He is-
Billy.
And here he comes. Oh god.
Yep. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and shout out Billy as well, who does a lot of fun games on his channel, and is also just a fun player to play D&D with.
That actually reminds me, I probably need to reset.
Well, we haven't had a lot of content out recently. I don't even know if we're still doing the stream that we have planned for tomorrow. Tomorrow's the 29th.
Oh shit, true. Whoops.
Well, we'll see. We'll figure it out.
Go out of town for one weekend. Forget everything. Okay.
You can just take it.
Okay. Where did my little handle go?
So I guess we'll have I want to start the conversation because I'm curious. So how long have you guys actually been mini painting?
Chris has been doing it a lot longer than I have, I will say.
Yeah, I started literally only months into starting to play D&D. The first minis I ever painted were some guards from like a Conan Kickstarter. I didn't actually back the Kickstarter, but a lot of people did and were reselling like the individual unit sets on eBay.
Right.
And so I got a bunch of like guards and some other stuff on eBay, and they were the very first ones I painted with like craft paint, so I hadn't even bought any like Vallejo or Army Paint or anything yet. I was just using my regular old craft paints. Up before that, we were literally using like dice as like the minis for a good couple sessions, maybe the first like month or two.
Yeah.
But that was what, 2014, 2015?
2015, pretty sure.
Somewhere in there?
Yeah, no. And
So
I
not that
started
long, I
mini
guess?
painting when I started DMing. Because I was like, I want minis. And that's when, like, the craze of, like, Critical Role having maps and minis and stuff started really catching on with a lot of people. So there were a lot of people who were like, oh, I want to start painting. And I was like, me too. And I talked to Chris about it because I was like, I'm interested in painting. And there were a few times before the stream even was an idea that I would go hang out with Chris and I'd have a mini that I want painted. And I really was just like, and Chris can tell you, I just asked questions. Every single time there was a new step, I'd be like, okay, what would you do next? And now we're here, and I don't really have to ask him as many questions anymore.
Yeah, I do remember the first ones we did for you were like the player character minis.
Mm-hmm. I did player character minis for my first campaign that I DM'd from where I could. And then after that, we got into more set pieces because we did that Warhammer shipwreck.
Yeah.
Together. Which was a lot of your work. And me just being
So
like, how?
I guess because I at this point, Wheeler, I've had a chance to get to know you a little bit just over the past, few months. But Chris, you are actually like an artist, right?
Yeah, I have an art degree. Do I do anything with it?
You paint minis?
I mean, does it pay me money? No. Do I use it? Yeah, pretty much every day.
So
but yeah, I got my art degree through FSU.
Oh, nice. So do you find it was helpful when you started to learn to paint minis, or was it kind of like a whole new thing?
Yes, because there's things that like any general art classes will end up teaching you that are useful, like regardless of what your medium is, like color theory, composition, the basic principles of art that literally apply to everything, like contrast, repetition, shape, language. And then there's more like painting specific ones that you can apply from different styles of painting. So painting like landscapes and oil painting and stuff, you'll still have to know like the color theory, lighting, how lighting affects color. Those are all things that you can take with you into this that I had at least some grasp on before. Sometimes I use them. A lot of times in speed painting, I don't.
Yeah. So I always compare mini painting to makeup.
For
it
sure.
was funny because I started painting minis and doing them when I was about 16, and it's funny because when I went to school, because I also have an art degree, except it's in film. Am I using it? No. But it was funny because they were talking about the basics of makeup, which, for those who don't know, you do a foundation. If I'm using my face as an example, you color in your foundation, that's pretty much throughout your face. You do your shading, so you want to make your eyes, sometimes darker. You want to, put shading on your cheeks, and then you do what's called a highlight, right, where you get kind of the raised areas of you. So as they're explaining to this in makeup class, I'm like, oh my god, I know how to do this. So, being probably the only guy in the class that could keep up with the women right off the bat was an interesting experience.
Yeah, they're like, can I see your portfolio? And you just like open your box of minis and you're like, here you go.
Yeah, contouring that classic
Panda.
T shape. I never really do faces that are large enough for it to like need super big detail. I do want to do more of them. Like I have like the double-sized Umber miniature that will require quite a bit more detail in the face. Luckily, because it's so big, it has a lot more like actual sculptural form, and it's not just something I have to imply those shapes on. But
right.
A lot of the smaller ones, like you can get away with just shading in the eye sockets and then just doing that little T shape or more of an H if you want to hit their upper lip. But yeah, it's literally just taking makeup theory and putting it on a tiny face.
This music is really good. Rob, I don't think you can hear it, but like the music that's in the background right now that we've got going on is like funk, and it just sounds like a good like interview music.
That's awesome.
Also,
yeah,
go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna. If you're gonna talk about the music real quick, I'm gonna just follow up with the painting bigger miniatures.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Brett says that he's painting a big ass werewolf right now, and then says, "Well, I'm giving him bath and I'm painting him." And then Dee Dee stopped by. I don't know if they're still in here, but hello, Deeds.
Fucking Dee Dee. Love me some Dee Dee.
Oh yeah, also go follow their channel. They just started getting stuff together for it, so make sure you go give them a follow.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, gaming content coming out.
They're playing no game because they haven't streamed yet. It was really funny. I posted about their stream on the TableTroop channel in our little like stream many things tab, and they were like, "I haven't even started playing and I already have like 10 followers." I'm like, "Yeah, that's called the love."
It's community,
It's called
baby.
the network.
But what were you gonna say, Rob, about big minis?
Oh no, I was gonna say, so I don't know how you guys prioritize your purchases. I know you guys typically like the Wizards of the Coast miniatures because they're very affordable, and for the most part the quality's decent. I question the quality of their characters, and I don't think I'd ever buy one to represent one of mine.
True.
But when you guys buy minis, is it just like, oh, this is a monster we're fighting, or do you guys just be like, oh, this looks pretty sweet, or do you find yourselves being like, oh, I'm not that great at painting large minis, maybe I'll do, or I'm not as good at freehanding, maybe I'll get like a beholder so I can like actually paint its eye?
For us, I definitely get a lot of and Chris can attribute to this. I literally will just go to our local shop and be like, hey, what do you want to paint? And if he doesn't have anything, I'll just find something we haven't painted yet and paint that.
That's what we're doing tonight.
There are times when I will buy things specifically without telling Chris that will come up in like our Tuesday night game, or that I'll be able to use for one-shots and stuff.
Wheeler has a habit of putting monsters in game that don't have minis yet that get released like several weeks later.
Like literally days later. It's stupid.
Or they get announced right afterwards, like the Critical Role set with the Gear Keeper construct.
Yeah, I used those in a game, and then like I said, the next day I'm pretty sure they got announced that they were making miniatures for him.
Yeah, for me, I kickstart a lot of Kickstarters that have good minis, like, so I have a good supply of ones from those. Like, I backed the first Critical Role, like, Steamforged Kickstarter, so I have all those. The Dungeons and Doggies one, also from Kickstarter, I have all those. Have not painted them because I'm really afraid to fuck them up. Even though they're, like, available in retail now, so I could just buy more. But I have all those primed and ready to go. Haven't sat down to it. A lot of I haven't really bought, like, minis recently without the specific intent of painting them on stream, because I have a 3D printer now and a massive, massive fucking library of files that I've accumulated from following a bunch of different Patreon creators over the last couple of years. And pretty much, like, especially with the creators like Rocket Pig Games, who make monsters that are just not, like, they're not existing stat block stuff. They're just, they're fucking coming up with it.
They just look cool.
Yeah. Luckily I have most of their library up until a couple months ago when I had to pause my subscription there. But if I need a mini that, or if, at least from now on, if I'm going to need a mini, I'm probably going to try to print it rather than buy it.
Yeah.
Unless it's becoming too short notice, because, you know, with printing, it's not necessarily a one and done. Like, all the last minis that I've printed, I've had to do multiple tries just to get them right.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you on that.
And that's something too that we talked about, where we were like, moving forward, I'd like to. It's not like I don't like the WizKids minis, but I want to move into more. That's why I asked when I first joined the Discord, y'all's Discord. I was like, hey, what minis would you like to see? Because it's not that I don't like I said, don't like the sculpts. I just want to branch out a little bit, and 3D printed minis are kind of the step ahead at the moment of what exactly I'm looking for. So
yeah, so like one of the ones from the upcoming WizKids set that I'm really excited for is the Nightwalker, the challenge rating 17 undead fucker who, like, if he kills you, you die permanently. Like, you disintegrate, there's no coming back, fuck you. That one, I've been super excited, and I've actually used one in the game before, albeit with a proxy mini. But I literally have like 4 different sculpts from 4 different creators for Nightwalker. So, like, I could have had one on my own already.
Yeah, I mean, and I painted, Shane printed me out a Toon Tapper.
Who's dummy thick.
Yeah, and I painted that and used that. But yeah, I want to do more minis outside of the scope of what WizKids offers. And again, it's not like they offer bad product. I just, want to get away from just doing their minis.
They can't keep up with putting out new stuff compared to how quickly we'd be going through it.
Yeah.
Because just like you said, their character minis at this point are feeling pretty subpar. The first couple times that they came out with stuff, super exciting, right? Because the first couple waves that they did a couple years ago, there wasn't really much to compare it to, apart from, like, Reaper, obviously. But yeah. Reaper, at least in Tallahassee, were not widely available.
No, they had them at the Vault.
Yeah, Fallout and Secret Vault also had them. Secret Vault is a store that shut down, and now is a cat cafe. A couple years ago.
It still is. Oh, cat cafe. Oh, you mean?
Well, yeah, but the owner left and moved like across the country, and the new store that filled it now is a cat cafe. Yeah. Still is a cat cafe, even through COVID. So good for them. But yeah, we used to be able to get Reaper stuff in town. Not really anymore.
You know what, though? Speaking of Reaper, they actually have a fantastic Twitch channel.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. In fact, they have multiple artists that stream. There's one person in particular. If she is on, I take time to sit and watch because she is not only a very fantastic painter, but she is also very good at explaining things. And her name's Anne. She is an older woman on the stream, but she is very, very, very good. Like one time she was painting and I was like, I never really liked the look of non-metallic metal. Like what is the logic behind painting? And she literally took like 20 minutes to explain to me. She got like multiple examples of like, okay, this is when I pick non-metallic metal. This is when I actually do normal metallic paint colors and stuff like that. And she broke it. And I was like, oh my God, I learned something. Like I learned quite a bit.
That's super dope.
Yeah.
That I mean, I wish we had engagement on that level to where I could just talk at people.
There are a few people who have asked before, but it's just it's a bit of a hard process sometimes to explain, especially I'll say from my level. I'm pretty sure, Chris, you could absolutely easily explain things to people in a way that
I have hardcore imposter syndrome, so like I don't really feel comfortable ever coming across as like an expert on things. Like I will always try to like preface what I'm saying of like, this is just my opinion and I'm probably an idiot. Like, if you ever watched any of my art streams before I put them on pause, my workflow is garbage. The way that I approach things in Photoshop, absolute imbecile smooth brain way to approach things. But it's something that I've accumulated like over the last couple years. Because I've been doing Photoshop stuff for longer than I've been painting minis. Like I started back in like high school with like digital design shit. Is this guy shirtless?
No. He's wearing like an undershirt.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I brought the... Oh, maybe not. Maybe you're right. He ain't got no nipple though.
He's ain't got no nipples!
How are you supposed to milk him if he got no nipple?
That's a good question.
Question for the chat. How do you milk a genie?
If he got no nipple.
Are you gonna waste one of your 3 wishes on giving him nipples?
Yeah, he's like, please,
on my
please,
Twitch stream?
I need genie milk now!
He's like, you can have 3 wishes, whatever you want. Genie milk.
There's 3 rules. There's 4 rules.
There's 4 rules.
Most of me learning how to paint, a lot of it, to be honest, was on like the Warhammer channel, along with, of course, like other creators who were really focusing on like painting terrain. Because I was doing terrain painting a long time before I was actually painting minis.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, of course, it's the same process: dry brush, wash, base, wash, highlight, dry brush, all that shit. And there's a lot of like YouTube creators who are all about doing stuff real cheap and with like household materials. That I was doing that stuff a lot before I was doing any sort of more formal mini painting with like expensive stuff.
I've got some pieces in here.
Which is why I had a supply of like craft paints.
Right. Yeah, because when you're painting large pieces of terrain, that's when you use craft paints. You don't want to spend money on your $5 a pot Citadel.
Yeah, I mean, occasionally I will sprinkle in
for $5 a pot. Like $8 here.
No, the small ones are like $4.50. The regular size ones.
Oh, that's probably why.
It's because we only ever get like the washes and the contrasts.
Yeah.
I haven't bought regular hot like colors in a while, and I probably won't. I need to replace some of my colors, but I haven't been replacing them with Citadel colors, because I also just got an airbrush, so I've been trying to work on that. And that brings back to the question that you had asked earlier about, like, how do you choose minis? There are a couple that I've bought specifically with the intent of trying to learn airbrush techniques on them. So this Fomorian that I've been carrying with me in a bag, I've been wanting to do airbrush techniques with him, and I haven't, because I haven't sat down. I haven't been home, like, with the intent of doing art in a little while. Seasonal depression, who is she? I have bought some specifically intending to do that.
Yeah, so the reason I am painting these guys is because, you know, Brett is kind of my partner in crime when it comes to mini stuff. And he's also here, and he's probably painting with us because he is my partner in crime. And like, really, we play a lot of games too. Like, we play a fuck ton of games. I am definitely in the boat of, I've heard the term gaming agnostic before, where I just have to play a little bit of everything. And I'm not sure if you guys know this, but actually, originally I was more of a war gamer than I was a role-playing game person. So the miniatures were obviously a huge part of that. Like D&D, you can skip the miniatures. You can 100% skip the miniatures. You don't need them. But with these, I was like, you know what? I'm not confident in painting large things of skin. I need something that I can just paint like a large body of like human type flesh.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. These ogres are shirtless. And I also just like big dumb monsters. If there was ever a role-playing specialty I have, it's playing big dumb monsters.
Anyone who is on the One Punch watching that on Monday night can attest to.
Oh yeah, the ogres guarding the gate.
Yeah.
Playing
so
dumb
in your head,
monsters is fun.
Do you picture that you eventually like made friends with those ogres, or do you guys think you just killed them?
Oh no, we absolutely went and grabbed drinks with them at some point. Maybe killed them afterwards, but
my Sunday night group, their very first monster that they faced at like level 1 was a pair of ogres, like guarding a bridge. And they were about to like start a band with these ogres, and then suddenly we're just like, nope, kill them.
Yeah, that sounds.
I was derailing the rest of the session that I had planned, ready to like start brainstorming band names with these fucking people, and then they're like, nah, just kidding. I sneak attack this fucking ogre, like, oh, dump his body in the river, let it wash out to sea. I was like, man, fuck, you guys are brutal. I still think about those ogres. Like, that's a completely different campaign that could have happened. Yeah, I think I have enough thin coats of green on Homeboy's skin.
So what kind of genies are these?
These are specifically Djinn that are like or Djinni, like the air type elemental one.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But, I mean, honestly, they can be whatever.
They absolutely can.
Like, if I wanted to paint one red skin, it'd just be a fucking another Ifrit.
Yeah. I still have the Ifrit up there. I haven't finished him yet.
I saw somebody who did that same Ifrit that I bought for you, the one with the legs and the overhand grip sword, who painted in blue, but like a vibrant dark blue, like a royal blue. It came out really well.
Yeah, that sounds like it looked good. I just can't tell from this if he is shirtless or
I mean, I have like 4 of these at home because they were an uncommon back in the set that they originally came out in.
Yeah, Monster Menagerie, I'm pretty sure.
Or like Rage of Demons or Elemental Apocalypse or something. One of them. Elemental Evil. But I literally have like 4 of them.
I just don't have any. I saw them and I was like, these look good. And to get back to the to the point or the question that you had, Rob. Sometimes I also do that where I look at something, I'm like, I have not painted something like this before, and you know,
Oh whoa.
And I want to give it a shot. Like I want to take a stab at trying to paint something very specific. So like the bigger minis I wasn't comfortable with. I was very meticulous with how I paint, and it kind of was a detriment to my work. So I was like, I want something that I don't have to be as meticulous on, that I can just like go for, and it's helped me become a better painter in my opinion. So welcome in those of you who are just joining us. We're painting Djinn, Ogres, and drinking Djinn and Ogres.
Which part of the ogre? We'll never tell.
It's the semen. So also, when you're painting minis, do you like? I mean, I know you guys kind of like have chats and hang out, but it's like when I'm painting on my own personally, like, do you ever think of like stories?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
For the minis in your head.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, not even if it's related to the. So, yeah, I'm kind of coming up with like a story for these guys. So I think this particular group of ogres I have. So I have 4 guys and like a commander boss type ogre, and I'm also planning to use these for a game called Kings of War, which is
good
fantasy. Yeah, a fantasy war game as well. Which on one of our streams, I'm actually going to be doing a session where I'm combining D&D with Kings of War. So if you've ever wanted to do like mass battles, like Helm's Deep level Lord of the Rings type battles in D&D, I'm going to be running that at some point in time with some homebrew rules, obviously. But these guys are primarily going to be used for Kings of War, but they're going to be a mercenary war band that's helping my dwarven forces. And I don't know, I just like the idea of them kind of being like almost like sea raiders. Like they actually have a giant ogre-sized long ship, and you know they'll come trade with the dwarves, and then once in a while, you know, they'll have a problem with like Brett's undead or something. So it's like, here, extra shinies if you go munch on some bones kind of thing. So with that in mind, like I'm also thinking of like, okay, well, I'm basing their color scheme around it, like kind of what are typical Viking Scandinavian hair colors, what kind of clothes would they be wearing, you know, what kind of dyes would they have. So that's kind of the level I go in when I think of kind of the backstories. Do you guys go that extreme really?
Go ahead, Chris.
Not really. If you've watched me paint, I literally just like, I'm throwing this fucking color down and we're going with it.
And I'm more of a traditional, like I will very much base the color scheme of my mini off of the official artwork for it. Just because I like it, and also I plan on using every mini that I paint. I plan on using at some point or another, and you know, for people who are going to watch this later on and be like, oh, how did this person paint it? If they're trying to get it, you know, the color that is what the official rules has it as, I want them to be able to look at it and be like, oh, so that's the color that was used. But also, like I said, I want to use them, and I think they're recognizable because of how they're painted or drawn or colored in the book. So
I typically have copies of a lot of these minis already, like this guy, for example. I'm not going to paint him to match my other 4, because if I'm ever going to use more than one, I would rather have them look different on the table so they're distinguishable. Because there's nothing worse than being like, oh, I have 7 identical whatever. Like, unless they're really like skeletons or something, even then, it's nice to have each of them have like more character, which is why I really like the Warhammer Underworld's Skeleton Warband.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, have you seen the minis for their new game? What is it called? Curse City.
Yes, and Fallout has 1 or 2 boxes left. It's $200 for the box, but I really want to get it because they're not making that box anymore.
Yeah, Games Workshop really fucking hates
everyone. They hate the customer.
They really do, and it's like people are like so grateful they're so bad. It's very, very strange. As a person who is kind of an ex-Games Workshop like loyalist, there's a reason I try not to give them money anymore.
Yeah. I don't want to feed into their bullshit. But at the same time, I feel like just me, like there's enough people who are still like hardcore loyalists enough to where like me choosing not to do it isn't going to be it's not going to net as much as those of them who are the whales who are paying out for anything and everything. Like, I don't know. I have a good number of Warhammer figures though. Like a lot of Age of Sigmar stuff I've co-opted for D&D figures. Like I have a Sylvaneth box set. I've got fucking Stormcast Eternals for days. I've got a lot of Khorne Bloodletters, who I've used as just generic like fiend demon fuckers, because they look great, but I'm never going to use them for their intended purpose.
Right. Yeah, and I actually have about 3,000 points of destruction for Age of Sigmar, and I have some 40k stuff as well. But, you know, it's tough, because also it's just the community has changed so much. Before I was doing TableTroop, I was actually running another online thing when it was still fairly fresh at the time. And it's like the community then was so awesome. The community now is very fucking vicious and cutthroat. Like, man, when I started to get back into wargaming, I got the 8th edition starter set. So I went to a local game store. I'm not going to say the name of it because I don't want to shun, I don't want to put it all on this one person. So I put together, the Primaris Space Marines. I'm like, okay, they have the easiest rules to remember. So I went to this game store during their Warhammer night, and I was like, oh yeah, anyone want to give me a demo game? And one person's like, oh yeah, sure, absolutely. The guy brings like an all Tau plasma list, and I just watched him roll dice.
Yikes.
And he's like, that's how you play the game. And I'm like, cool. And I was this close to just never fucking playing again, because I'm like, oh my god, if this is like the people they want to give demos to their new players, like what the fuck is everyone else like?
My introduction to Warhammer was actually through the lore and not at all through the gameplay.
That's like the majority of people, actually. So
yeah, I mean, through a lot of like our older fraternity brothers and some of my old roommates who were also fraternity brothers, they were big into Warhammer, and so like I remember specifically getting this folder, like this red like filing folder from Brandon Strange of just like lore of some specific fucking thing, and just like reading it on like a day off after class and just being like, I don't have enough context to put all this together, but this is fucking wild. And then of course it would lead to like Wikipedia deep dives to try to get the bigger picture. Suddenly 4 hours has passed and I know so much more, and yet I don't know anything else.
Yeah, what's actually funny too, and I'm not sure if I've ever told you this story, Wheeler, but Brett and I actually were originally internet friends through this Warhammer group, kind of the predecessor to TableTroop, but we just learned we lived 10 minutes away from each other.
As one does.
Yeah, isn't that's kind of like wild to think about that. We just didn't like meet each other in a game store or any other normal human situation. He was just like, holy shit, you're in Massachusetts? I'm like, yeah. He's like, where are you? And it's like, oh my god,
We're right
10 minutes away.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you live in my building.
Yeah. Oh my god, you're my next door neighbor.
Oh my god, you're me!
But you're my alt account.
But yeah, I have an interesting history with Games Workshop. Like, Warhammer Fantasy was my favorite game of all time. I don't know if there's ever going to be a game that quite captures the magic of tabletop gaming like that ever will.
I got a 6th edition Warhammer Fantasy rulebook hardcover from Goodwill for literally like $5, and it's on my shelf, and I love that book.
It's so good. Yeah, a lot of people say, 6 is debatably one of the best.
It's just
for sure. Actually, I started with 5th, but
I say it's definitely one of the highlights of my board game shelf, just because it's a nice piece of my collection, even though I don't play it.
That and the fucking 1st and 2nd edition D&D books you got.
Oh yeah, I have a shit ton of the original like adventures, like the paper, like not folder ones, but like A1, Temple of the Frog, whatever, Temple of the Lizard Queen. I have a shit ton of those. A lot of duplicates, but most of them are pretty good condition. I did just get the 2nd edition Dungeon Master's Guide and Player's Handbook.
Yeah,
from Goodwill for like $10
You have the
each.
same book, right? The Advanced Dungeons and Dragons player handbook? Yeah. We have the same book.
Same one you got.
My uncle gave that to me.
I literally go thrift shopping for books every weekend, pretty much.
Ooh, that was... yeah,
I wonder if that was visible, like, on camera.
It probably was.
Wait, it's happening now. It's happening. Oh, yeah, there it goes. Yeah, pretty much every weekend. We have 2 Goodwill bookstores in town, like, that are Goodwills that are specifically just books. And it's pretty lit.
Yeah,
they're constantly updating their stuff, and everything's really well sorted.
So do you guys consider yourselves kind of historians for D&D as as players?
I delved into the lore pretty heavily, but I don't think that I'm anywhere near what someone would describe as a historian.
Yeah, I'm an aficionado for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm a book collector of like all things. Like my library at home, not D&D specific, but like overall of all my books is a well over 400, probably approaching 500 books right now.
Expansive, yeah.
Across multiple bookshelves all across my living room. It's going to be an absolute nightmare to move them in a couple months when we switch houses.
Yeah, not excited to move.
Yeah.
But like, have you like sat down to like read all the rules and stuff like that, and to like try to get an idea of like how the game has evolved, almost putting yourself in the time and place? And
I've definitely taken some time to like go through it all, not expansively, but I have done my research on things. Like I said, my uncle gifted me when I was like 12 or 13. My uncle gifted me that 2nd edition handbook, and he was 2nd edition player's handbook, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then my stepmom was like, no, you can't play that, that's the devil, because she grew up during the Satanic Panic and played D&D and got yelled at for it. And so I kind of got shut off by it, and I was like, oh, okay, I won't play
D&D teaches you to fight the devil.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I won't play it anymore. And then Chris is the reason I got into it, because he came up 2015 and was like, hey, 5th edition just came out, do you guys want to play a campaign? And I was like, sure. And it started out with 5 of us.
5 of you.
Because it was John, me, Travis, Josh, and Sierra.
There were like 7 people who were slated for the group. 7 or 8. Yeah, my dumbass first time thinking that I could handle 7 to 8 people. Luckily, about half of them bailed, which, just as well. We had enough people. But yeah, started with 5 people. That campaign went on for almost 3 years.
Yep. We ended at level 11, and then we did a epilogue. at level 18?
18.
And then there's the stuff that you want to do on Friday while Shane's taking his vacation.
Yeah, I need to make some maps for that.
But to answer your question, I get bored very easily sometimes, either while I'm at work or just in general, and D&D was one of those things that I just started listening to. One of my favorite things to do was to listen to the Dragon Talk podcast, and I exclusively would listen to episodes that had the Lore You Should Know sub thing, and I started listening to a lot of that and getting a lot of information from there, and that kind of intrigued me on, like specific things. And every once in a while, it won't dictate what I do in game, but it'll definitely make me think about, I will put these creatures in, or maybe I'll build off of that kind of culture. Obviously, when like Mordenkainen's came out, it gave a lot of information on like the Blood War and stuff like that, and I read into a lot of that.
That shit was a nightmare to try to follow in like 3rd edition.
Yeah.
When they weren't using the words demon or devils.
They were just using fiends.
No, it was like Tanaruk or Tanari and something else. Tanaruk is a specific like fiend orc. But it was like Tanari and something else. Because they specifically wanted to move away from the like satanic panic shit, so they just stopped using demons and devils for that edition. It was really dumb. Obviously they've backtracked on it and given up on that.
But yeah, I enjoy the lore, but I wouldn't count myself as a historian. I could definitely, like, if you invite me to a D&D trivia night, I could probably do pretty decently, but...
Yeah, I mean, we had Hunter in the other night, a couple streams ago for mini painting, and...
She was asking us questions.
Yeah, Hunter was doing, like, D&D trivia and, like, quizzes. And there were a couple ones that we knew that the questions had wrong.
Yep.
That was fun.
Yeah, I think more I asked, are you a historian? Like, do you like pick up the rule books? Do you try to learn what each edition brought to the table, kind of thing?
I've made characters in the old editions just because it's one of those things, it's one of those like lonely fun type things where it's like, I don't need to play the game to get enjoyment out of this. Not necessarily to like, because I wanted to learn more about it, but because like I had it and I can. So I have some characters who were built in those older editions, and even just trying to translate some of my current edition characters into how they would be built in those older editions is also fun.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I understand those old editions as well as I do 5th edition, because even doing that, like even building characters, it's not actually close to, playing them.
Yeah, and I mean, we had a brother who DM'd a couple 3.5 games.
Talking about Benny?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually what got me into it, was watching him DM 3.5.
And Benny's he's just a good storyteller. Like,
I'd love to get Benny on the stream.
Yeah.
Whenever he's free. Benny has his own stream. Shout out at BenAyTee. BenNayTee on Twitch. Check him out. He games. He's big gay.
Big gay. BenNayTee.
I think.
Star Wars Squadrons. Sure. I guess that's what he's playing.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah, but I find one of the most interesting things about, I guess, the grand scheme of D&D history is that there's so much more emphasis on role-playing, but everyone, I think, is a lot more RP heavy, and it's just interesting how the game has evolved because the rules are pretty much made for combat.
Yeah.
Like, out of all the role-playing games, like, D&D is the kick down the door murder people game.
Yep.
At heart. Like, I think a lot of people were really confused when Baldur's Gate 3 came out. And they were like, what the fuck is this game? Why is it so hard? I'm like, this is actually how they want D&D to be played.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like, we talked about this, Rob, and Chris and I have talked about this too, because it's not full access obviously yet, but it's it's a fun game because it is very much like there's strategy to, and I think this is, a lot of people are like, oh, I hate the fact that Larian made it this way, and it's like, no, I love the fact that Larian made it this way, because much like DOS 2, maybe a little bit less than DOS 2, because DOS 2 takes a lot of tactical knowledge.
Divinity Original Sin, for those listening.
Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't take as much, but if you go into it guns a-blazing for some of the encounters that they have prepared for you in the game, you'll die. And you have to think about like where to put yourself. And not only that, there's like actual conversational aspects to where, you know, how you speak and what you say and the things you do have consequences in the long run. And I love that.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think that game has a lot of... I think one of the reasons I like it is it has a lot of heart to what the game originally was. And, you know, one thing about the old rules, and I'm not sure how much you guys look into it, but it's like, the further back you go in the editions, the scarier combat was. You wanted to avoid combat as much as humanly possible in those games. When in 5th edition, it's like you need stuff to die.
I've striven sometimes to make like traps more of a presence in my games and like make them a deadly thing that need to be worked around. But at the same time, sometimes it can lead to just like being well, you failed your save, even though you were super prepared, you failed your save, and now you're fucked.
Now you're dead.
That's not fun for you, but hey. So it's a hard thing to deal with.
Yeah, and I mean, this goes into some of the reason why the Tuesday night game stopped streaming. It was very much focused on, you know, and this is partially my fault, but I know what people like to see when they watch D&D, and I've fallen victim to this at times watching like Critical Role or other games where I'm just like, okay, so where's the combat? And it's like, that's just not the point. Like, I love the storytelling now more than ever because of, you know, some of the storytellers that I like watching. And I love RP because I think it just adds so much to a game.
Yeah, and it's interesting because TableTroop is definitely going through a transition right now. And we all had a couple of meetings saying like, okay, we feel that at this point we have been practicing. We've been practicing for what we actually want to do.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, I think, how much we're gonna get done because I guess we don't really focus on trying to like do what everyone else does. Like, we kind of just go with like, we find what we do entertaining for ourselves. And I think if we do it, other people will as well. And that's kind of the mentality we have going into it. Because I feel like if you try and copy and paste like Critical Role, you're destined for failure, right?
Yeah, because you're never gonna live up to that hype.
Yeah, well, I mean, your table is never going to be the Critical Role cast. So like, what they want out of it and what they can provide in return is never going to match up.
Yeah.
So it's really great to hear that like because you gotta focus on like playing to your table specifically.
Right, and our thing is just like we have become such a tight-knit group of friends, and I think that really just shows, you know, in our streams, in our Discord as well. Like, I feel like our strength is our community right now because we just love, I guess, talking shit. But it's, I don't know. It's been an interesting experience, and we really had a heart to heart. You know, my players gave me some excellent feedback, and even though, you know, I've been DMing for literally probably about 19 years at this point, there's still good feedback, and there's still stuff to learn.
There is, and I mean that's something that I think is very important. And every once in a while, and Chris can attest to this, I'll message the group and I'll be like, hey, is there anything that you guys are lacking in game that you want to see more of? Is there anything that I'm not doing well that you think I could do better? Because I mean, just like many sports and games in general, things change over time. And just like in storytelling and story writing, sometimes as a writer grows, they start to write different stories because of the experiences they go through. And if people enjoy the stories that they wrote at a specific time, they may be like, hey, what do you guys want to see more of? Would you like to see more of the old stuff or the new stuff? But at the same time, you kind of have to grow. In my opinion, the characteristics of a good storyteller are that they grow with their characters and grow their storytelling with their own personal experiences.
Right, and I think one thing that's interesting too, and I don't know if you guys do this as well, but one thing we're doing for our next campaign is we're actually off screen playing a bunch of mini sessions that are just kind of like random one-offs that they just have a chance to get to know their characters. They just have a chance to talk as their characters, do things with their characters. There's no real benefit or rewards they're getting for these sessions. It's just like,
apart from becoming more comfortable.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, just playing their characters.
Yeah. We did a little bit of that. It was less so, and I mean, like, this is the Tuesday night game that we play is technically my second campaign, and I will say it's more like my first, because my first one wasn't really a campaign per se. I was running a module, and then it kind of developed into something more. But it also wasn't really... I didn't know the DMing rules as well. And with our Tuesday night game, we did do, like, somewhat of a session 0. But I do like to have, like...
I vaguely remember one.
When I have players who are going to be out for a decent amount of time, like, any time more than 2 sessions, I like to have situations occur in-game to where they reasonably are shunted out. And what I'll do is I'll be like, hey, if you can't make it on Tuesday night, what time can I meet with you, like, one-on-one? And I've done it with David. I've done it with Kimmy. I've done it with Ben. I don't think I've done it with you or Dee.
Haven't missed any sessions.
Yeah. But I'll take them to the side, and I'll be like, hey, this is what your character's going through. I want to do, like, a little mini adventure just one-on-one with you. And we'll, like, develop your character a little bit or move your story plot forward as you, like, for instance, you don't know this in game, but when Ben was out for a bit because he was doing his med school stuff.
Him doctor.
And you guys were in the Nine Hells, and I was like, banished, and you were like, oh shit, Ben went somewhere.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that.
He went to Witherwillow. And, like, had his own little, like, wait, this is right near the ruins of the city that my ancestors came from. I need to find out more information. And I, like, gave him information that had to do with, his backstory. So that way he didn't feel like he would be missing out on it, which I think is a big reason why recently he's been like, yeah, we don't have to, develop my story right now. Let's do this or let's do that. And it does that thing where it just kind of helps out a little bit. And like I was talking to you about earlier, I want to meet with Kimmy because I want to make sure that, she gets her time with Bryce while you guys are forcing her to stay with you as her old character.
Hey, Gideon wanted to blow shit up and get out of there.
I'm not saying you.
I know.
It was funny because you guys had a full conversation about it. You were like, well, I don't want Kimmy to play a character that she doesn't want to play, but, like, I also feel like we should do this thing. And you guys were like, yeah, I guess so. And then she was like, oh, sure. I was like, you can...
Yeah, the one thing that I think sticks out about our Tuesday night group is that the characters they never butt heads. Everyone is very considerate of every single other character's, like, feelings, and player-wise as well. So we never really run into situations where it's like, someone puts their foot down about something.
Yeah. And, I mean, that's kind of why when we first started, I was like, hey, maybe you're right. Maybe that is skin. Because it looks like he's got abs. I'm just going to repaint him. It's okay.
Yeah, he's just dummy thick.
But yeah, that's why at the beginning of the game, I was like, hey, you guys have known each other for months because sans 2 of the original players, you guys had known each other for months. Well, I guess technically DD also, but you guys had known each other for a long time. So I was like,
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with this guy, by the way. This looks like garbage.
What does he look like? Hang on, let me
garbage.
He looks like the Jolly Green Giant.
Well, I know, because I know what I'm doing with the smoke, but I had to let it dry. But, like, I'm trying to figure out a fucking color scheme for all his fabric. And, like, it's just not coming along. It's just not working.
How much longer are we actually going to stream, by the way? Because I actually might be done with this gentleman by the time we're done.
Well, that's good. That means we planned correctly. We'll go for another hour. We've only been doing it for an hour, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's just like time flies when I'm doing this, to be 100% honest.
Oh yeah, 100%. I will. Chris and I have done things before when we did like the dragons, and I was just like, I wonder how much time we have left now that we're almost done. And we had like 10 minutes left. I was like, oh, okay, sure.
That's why I think when I'm going to do my painting stream, it's just going to be an undisclosed amount of time.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be able to at least do an hour of it, but it's like, I might literally go for like 5.5. Like, I honestly probably would have gone longer if I didn't have like errands I had to run.
I feel that.
Well, and this was always meant to be like, I originally had the plan when we first came up with this idea, where I was like, oh, let's make this like a long stream where we teach people how to paint. Chris made a very valid point where he's like, there's a lot of people who are doing that. Why don't we just paint minis because we want to paint minis? And I was like, okay.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because it's like when I was like, oh, I need to come up with a name for my painting stream, and I'm just like, there are so many goddamn talented people on Twitch. Like, I feel like I need to at least put a disclosure that I'm not like a pro commission painter or something like that.
Hunter laughed at the name of it.
What?
The name Rob came up with for...
Which is what? Because I missed it.
It was like average mini painter.
Oh, hell yeah. You had, we brainstormed a couple names that didn't actually get used for Mini Paint Show, because it's just like, kind of stuck now. I had a lot of reservations about, like, Mini Paint and Chill. It's like, it never seemed like a great name. At this point, I don't care. I have not enough energy to deal with it. We had a couple good options that I was really rooting for, like Partners in Prime was one that I really wanted to go for. And you would, when you were like, yeah, Billy's like my partner in crime, I thought about that immediately. I was like, man, then y'all should take that fucking name because we're not using it.
Well, you know what? Here's a little thing just to remind you, because you guys may have forgotten. Literally, I have found you guys because of this stream. Because I saw there was a stream that was called Mini Paint and Chill. And I was like, that sounds different. And I clicked.
We're not trying to advertise anything that it's not.
I was about to say...
You know what I mean? It sticks out, right?
It sticks out because it's honest.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Because it's like Partners in Prime, I could be like, oh, they're a professional painting stream. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean,
I might have
earlier on in the stream, that was definitely more of the intent, was like making it seem very like well put together. But to be fair, I think, yeah, you do make a good point that we're not putting a lot of effort in here.
We are not. We're doing the bare minimum. Doing it.
So if you have any reservations on the name, that's my counter argument, is we wouldn't be here right now if you guys probably didn't have that name.
Rob showed up as TableTroop, and then he was like, hold on, I need to go grab my buddy Billy. And then Billy showed up.
Why am I so bad at painting today? Like, specifically today?
You know what? I feel like a lot of people I know over the last 2 weeks have just been having like the worst like weeks of their lives.
Is it just
I'm just
this
blaming
paint?
it on...
It might be.
I'm just I'm blaming it on Pluto or planets or some shit.
Yeah, the
Mercury's in fucking Gatorade.
Yeah, Mercury's in Gatorade.
Fuck, what is that? Shit. I'm trying to think of that. Meme that's like some girl who does a thing. Tell me what planet's making me sad right now. I wish I could remember what that actual Twitter meme was. 'Cause that's a good one.
What planets are making me sad right now? As funny as it sounds, I'm pretty open to anything right now. Any suggestions, any ideas?
Oh, and then the follow-up is Earth.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start fucking this guy up. I took so much medication this morning. I had fucking nasal spray. I had Dayquil. Like, I chugged a Mountain Dew like first thing in the morning.
That's medication, right?
I slowly went from like not being able to breathe whatsoever this morning to like mostly having a normal voice by the end of the working day. Because I answer phone, so literally all day it's like saying stuff, and you don't realize how much of your nasal passages you use for your voice until you don't have them. And so like me specifically, my phone voice is all in my lower register. I'm calm, I speak slowly, but I do push a lot through my diaphragm. Because it's, you know, it's that customer service voice. You're speaking here, I'm a lot higher register. It's still modal voice, but like, I also I'm not stuffed up as much. But man, this morning was rough.
Also, welcome in all the new people who are just joining us. Make sure to follow the channel if you haven't already. Follow the TableTroop channel too.
Follow them.
Where are they going?
Them. Ride into Obsession.
Join us, Jimmy.
Have you guys watched either of you guys have HBO Max? Have you watched any Mortal Kombat yet?
No.
Yes.
Did a...
We actually did Discord viewing.
I watched it last night. It's pretty fucking good.
Really? I thought it sucked ass.
Like,
well, Rob, you think a lot of things suck.
I had very low expectations for it because it's a Mortal Kombat movie. What do you fucking want out of it?
Well, here's my main argument for it. There was so little faith in the creative team for that, they had to invent a whole new character to carry the entire plot.
It felt that part, part felt very like new Tekken, where it's like, hey, new characters. I don't give a fuck about these new characters. I just want martial law and fucking
King.
Yeah, and the fucking Heihachi clan. But
so, like, that's my big thing. But when you think about it, like, that's like the entire plot of the movie, though.
I actually didn't know he was a made-up character until I googled it at the end of the movie. So I was like, what the fuck is the deal with his armor shit? I don't remember that from any of the games. I also haven't played the last 3 games, so I don't know if it's I don't know if that's just a new thing. Is he cool?
It felt like a $10 million advertisement to push Mortal Kombat 11. Which, by the way, I actually checked today. Their budget was $10 million, which is actually pretty low for a blockbuster.
Yeah.
But they've made $22.4 million.
Yeah.
That's a damn good movie for $10 million, though. Like, that's some good shit.
Also, maybe this is the film student in me, but the action scenes were kind of jank because I kept getting distracted by every time there was a hit, they made a cut. So it was like, cut, and you never really got to absorb any of the brutality of the attacks. And it's like watching modern day WWE. It's like every time somebody makes an impact, they switch cameras so you don't actually see it. And I'm like, oh my god, like if anything, have like these awesome long shots of these fighters just wailing on each other.
That's every movie these days. There are not enough movies that are willing to do riskier long takes And every, like, because I watch movies with my girlfriend a lot, every single time there's, like, long takes, I'll point out, I was like, that was a good long-ass take. You know how long that was since that last camera cut? That was good shit. Action movies are definitely the worst for it, but I fucking love me some good long takes.
And I recommend going back and watching Netflix Daredevil, because that had long
the hallway
takes in it.
scene.
That scene was beautiful.
Like, out of all the action scenes, that scene is more memorable than, like, almost all the fights in the MCU. Because it was so unique, it was so brutal. Like, just... Man, I love good filmmaking. I feel like a lot of people are more content to be like, no, it's good because of the branding and it's a franchise they like. But it's like, man, nerds need to start having higher standards again. For real.
I still enjoyed it. I will. That's a hill I'm willing to die on. It's not a phenomenal movie. Like, I enjoyed it. That's what I'll say. I enjoyed it a lot.
Sure, and it was probably more enjoyable the fact that, like, I was day drinking with Billy and yelling at it with people in the Discord. But, like, if I were to give the movie a score, it's like a solid, like, 5 out of 10 or 4.5.
It's fair.
Yeah, if I were going to be critical about it, there's a lot to say. But oh Jesus. Also, if I wanted to, like, rewatch it, being more critical and not just, like, immediately accepting it for what it is, because it's a fucking Mortal Kombat movie. Like,
sure, and I can give leeway, right? You know, I'm not just saying that because I'm expecting it to be like goddamn Schindler's List or whatever, but, like, I don't know. It's just like, it felt like a big disrespect to the game franchise rather than like a celebration of it, to be 100% honest. And I'm not even that big of a Mortal Kombat fan, to be honest. Like, that's more of a Brett thing and more of a Billy thing. And
Brett just got back in to the chat, so if he wants to...
Yeah, Brett, your opinion on Mortal Kombat.
2021. I thought the cast was really well picked. The dude they had for Shang Tsung, like, granted, he's a lot younger than the guy they had for the old ones, obviously, because that was 20 years ago, and that dude's fucking ancient, if he's even still alive. But, like, really well cast. Did the cast have a lot to work with? No.
Yeah,
but,
and I...
You know?
Yeah, considering there were really kind of a lot of people who were just nobodies in that movie. Like, I'm just like, I don't recognize just about anyone in the cast.
The guy who played the new character, I recognize him from something, but I looked on his IMDb and I don't know what I recognize him from. Because I've never watched any of the things that he was in. I'm much better with voices than I am with faces.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a quick 5-minute AFK because I need another drink and I'm going to go take a pee break. So I'll be right back.
Continue to talk about this. Also, if anyone in chat has any commentary on it, please feel free to butt in. Like chatting. This guy's gonna be as good as he's gonna be. I realize it's a statement, but...
Well, it's a statement. Does it mean much, is the question. But, yeah, I'm not super sold on this guy. Like, I'm not...
Visually incredible, cast was great, costume work was great, the story and action were a bit jank. That's kind of agreeing with everything that we've been saying. Or rather, Chris and Rob have been saying, because I haven't seen it yet.
Costume work was pretty solid. I thought it was interesting that they put Sub-Zero in such dark, like, he was more wearing black than blue. And I guess that's like, maybe foreshadowing, like, it's a bit of a reach, but maybe it's foreshadowing his return as Noob Saibot, where he's basically like the Shadow Ninja split into two people. But, like, just give me some fucking bright blue. Come on.
Give me some of that good old classic Sub-Zero.
And, because they basically gave Sub-Zero Arrow Black's storyline, because he was, the assassin sort of sent to hunt down Earthrealm's heroes. That's Arrow Black. That's not Sub-Zero. They really did mishmash stuff together, and they sort of threw in the whole, like, Lin Kuei versus Scorpion's clan thing with no real, like, explanation or context, which can feel kind of unsatisfying if you know nothing about it, because it's like, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But, of course, that's more geared towards, like, oh, if you're a fan of the series, then you know what it is, but if, they can't make movies just for hardcore fans. That's not how it works.
Well, I mean, you can. You just can't expect to make money on it.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things I've started to notice a lot for, like, fandom-based movies is, like, they don't stay classically to what the story is because they are pandering to other people. Like, if you watch any of the old D&D movies.
Be a good movie first and foremost, and then work on fitting all your homages and Easter eggs in.
Like, a bad example because the D&D movies of old are god-awful, but...
You mean to tell me Jeremy Irons was not award-winning and life-changing in that one that he was in?
Jeremy Irons was probably the only good part about that movie.
Bro, he was eating that fucking shit up.
If he were to come back and play a character again, I would be happy. But, goddamn, was that movie awful.
Did you ever watch the Mythica series on Amazon that Matt Mercer was in? Like, he was like the necromancer in like the third one?
No, but I did see some of the shots from it, and it wasn't that bad.
They're still on. I recommend going on to watch them. One of the like party members is this guy who has like, he reminds me of Rob and Brandon Strange a lot, where he's like that big bearded guy. He's in a lot of those like shitty sci-fi movies these days from this one production company. And every time I recognize him, I was like, oh, it's that fucking guy. Cool, he's great. But yeah, Matt Mercer's in one of them.
I remember, yeah, he's like...
There's like 5 of those now, the Mythica series.
Yeah, he's like a necromancer or something, right?
Yeah, it's literally called Mythica 3, The Necromancer.
So, on my break, I just thought of another interesting topic we can discuss about.
Yeah.
Go for it.
How's everyone's confidence in the D&D movie? Based on
you
what they've announced
literally
so far.
just were making a joke about the old movie. Movies, yeah. I don't know. Do I think Chris Pine is a good pick for the lead? My personal opinion is yes. Because of how he was in The Outlaw King and...
I'm going to be honest, I don't know anything about the new D&D movie. I've pretty much been specifically avoiding stuff about it just because I don't want to know.
So that's actually kind of my opinion of it, Chris, is the fact that they were like, we have a D&D movie. There is Chris Pine. Okay. So, in my opinion, it's just so many red flags based on that, because it would be one thing if they were like, oh, we're doing a D&D movie. We're going to do it based on the Drizzt Do'Urden series. So
I would watch the shit out of that.
So, but at least that would give me some confidence being like, okay, they know what source material they're going for. Excellent, that's great. But the fact that you're just like, hey, guys, we bought this license. We have new school Captain Kirk. You guys excited? And, again, kind of doing, I guess, what I think that they do with, like, I guess Mortal Kombat, too, is like, we got Mortal Kombat. Is it involving really the characters you like? Some.
Maybe. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I would much prefer a good team of writers and directors and nobodies as the cast. Motherfucker. Than having big names in the cast and have it be a hard garbage pile.
Yeah, so I don't have a lot of confidence based on what they're telling us so far.
Yeah.
Because because I just have a gut feeling they just threw money at Wizards to get the rights to do something, and then they're gonna do something that's vaguely D&D.
Here's my thing. It can't be as bad as the original movies.
I don't know.
It can be bad in different ways.
Yeah, so here...
Are we ready to be hurt again is the real question.
I mean, so it's funny because actually one thing that I do want to do for TableTroop at some point in time is I want to do a review of that movie based on like D&D players watching it. So here's the thing. My favorite thing about the D&D movies, if you look at the old adverts for it, it's called a special effects extravaganza. So,
God.
Guess what movies came out about 2 to 3 years before that? There's 2 movies that are just mind-blowing special effects.
Well, those came out in like 2003, so the ones coming out before them were Lord of the Rings.
So, Lord of the Rings, but like what else? I'll give you a couple.
2001-ish.
The Matrix.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I was reading about that. I watched the review of those on YouTube because I was like, I didn't even know there were D&D movies.
I've watched them. They're god-awful.
They are.
Fucking honestly, one of the Wayans brothers is in them, and
yeah.
it's like the only black guy
yes,
for some reason.
And his character is like borderline racist, too.
Yeah, he's literally written as like a token black guy in a fucking D&D world. Like, yikes.
Yeah, that's just... I just don't think anything can be as bad as that, but, I mean, I could be wrong.
You want to talk about movies that don't give a fuck about the source material? That's them.
So, but here's also the thing, too. In one reason, again, going back to Mortal Kombat, at least with the old movies, they were just self-aware of kind of what Mortal Kombat was. So in my opinion, it's so bad, it's entertaining, so it comes full circle.
Well, there's just this new, like, wave of movies that have come out recently. Like, I've seen a lot of info and stuff on, like, what was it? Like, the live-action movies for, like, Dragon Ball and...
Let's not talk about that one.
No, we need to have discussions.
That the fewer days that go by that I have to think about live action Dragon Ball with that one fucking kid who I saw in a movie the other day, and I was like, what the fuck do I know him from?
Oh, yes.
Oh, wait. And yeah. What was he in the other day that I watched?
Ahoy!
Fuck, now I have to go on his IMDb.
Yeah, he looks like Billy Joe Armstrong to me. Every time I see him.
He was in something and it wasn't bad, but I couldn't help but think of it as fucking Goku's Day Off.
Thinking about people who are like really famous now that have movies that are like lesser known. Chris Evans. The movie Push. One of like my favorite movies to watch.
Was it like that weird sci-fi one?
Yeah, where they have like
the superpowers
powers or whatever.
Yeah, that was a good one. Get balls. My metallic paints are just not being friendly to me right now.
You are a lucky individual, Eli. Never seen the live-action Dragon Ball Z or the live-action Avatar.
Oh, bro, you want to talk about the biggest? I went to the midnight release of Avatar.
Oh,
fuck.
God. Could you imagine leaving that movie and wanting your money back?
So that's the thing.
It's like, 2 a.m.
When the movie ended,
bars are already closed.
Like, literally, people sat through the credits, and it's just like, people were just hoping there was some... But you just felt disappointment in the air, and there's not a feeling I can relate to it, like, to what that was. Like, the energy in that room, it's just... People were just really sad and hurt.
Man, do y'all remember midnight premieres?
Yes. I saw Prometheus in a midnight premiere. My dad came with us.
I think one of the last midnight premieres I went to was like one of the later Harry Potters.
Yeah. No, I went to the midnight premiere of Alien Covenant too because that's like my favorite series.
Because they're not even doing like midnights now. Like, I mean, granted, before COVID, when all the theaters shut down, it's like you could go 7 p.m. that Thursday.
Yeah, they were doing like early.
Yeah. Which is pretty much what me and Kimmy would do, because before COVID, we watched a lot of movies in the theater, and we've been talking about how we miss going to the theater, because it would literally be like every week, every other week, because we had AMC Stubs memberships, which is like literally 3 free movies per week.
Yeah. With
your $20 a month membership.
My dad used to work for AMC, so he had an old movie watcher card that we used to get free shit on. I was pissed when it went over to the stubs. Because we would go to a movie like every weekend, and because he worked there and he got free movies, he would just use his movie watcher card while he was working there. So we'd go in and he'd get like free large popcorn and large drinks like every other movie we went to. And like, mind you, they weren't as expensive then as they are now, but that's still like a decent amount of money that we just got shit for free. So when I went to a movie for the first time with like my high school girlfriend, or my girlfriend in high school, I should say.
Good phrasing.
Yeah. And I had to pay for our popcorn. I was like, what is this shit?
Dude, when I lived in Orlando, there was an amazing one of those kind of like restaurant movie theaters. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like, because I was a student, it was like a $2 ticket. But then you would just go and buy food and drinks. They just bring you pitchers of beer. I remember I went to see like Shutter Island 3 times.
Yeah, my dad, when he was working, his movie was Top Gun. He's like, I've seen that movie 27 times. And I was like, are you kidding me? I mean, it's like a decent movie, but I don't know if it's 27 times worth.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, Brett and I probably we do a Lord of the Rings paint and viewing. We probably do that about 3 times a year. Like, that's probably not an exaggeration.
Yeah, but that movie has, like, machismo. Like, you can watch it over and over and over again and not get tired of it because it's, like, just good storytelling. Top Gun's like, we're men on a beach playing volleyball. We fly big ships. Ooh, boom, boom. Shoot, shoot. No offense to anyone in chat who likes Top Gun, but that's legitimately what it is.
I tell you what, though. I am not interested for the new Top Gun movie. I just do not care.
I'm interested in it. But that's
I enjoyed the original Top Gun. Granted, it's basically like because the new one's literally like Tom Cruise let loose to do whatever the fuck he wants. I'm not sure that I'm down for that.
Are you ready for them?
Tom Cruise is a fucking maniac.
Are you ready for the M. Night Shyamalan twist where Goose is actually still alive and he's like a cyborg now?
Goose was an alien.
Sorry for those who haven't seen Top Gun. But, I mean,
yeah,
it's been
the
out for
20-year-old
years.
spoiler.
Yeah.
20-year-old. Yeah, that's like someone getting upset. That's like, wait, Darth Vader was Luke's father? Fuck you.
It's like, you're a little late on the draw, bud. Sorry. I almost have his entire base coat down. I'm just going to have to base coat his little swirly legs and the actual base, and then I can start washing.
Yeah, I'm already on washing. I sort of really fucking skipped through a lot of the basing of his like fabric shit. I'll come back to it after the wash and do some like color variation, but I'm just sticking with it for now because fuck it.
Yep, I'm waiting for the wash to dry on his boots. I'm gonna do a quick dry brush because I don't spend a ton of time on boots.
Yeah, the closer you get to the bottom of the mini, the more fuck it becomes.
You know, it's funny because when I was doing my stream, people are always say like, you know, I couldn't do this or I have a hard time because, you know, I obsess over it. And it's like if there's a mistake where it's like in like the crease of his pants, like in between his leg, I'll obsess about it. It's like, really, I think the number one thing I would give to advice I would give to a new mini painter is just focus on what matters.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that like you're gonna be working on detail areas that are not gonna get seen. Like,
I just want to quickly.
Oh, I gotta get his fucking nips. Shit.
He doesn't have nips.
I gotta get his abbly babs.
Eli mentioned the Student Life Cinema and how lucky.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of when you're like $2 movies, dude. That was
SLC was awesome.
Yeah,
we have a literal movie theater on campus that if you have a student ID, you can get into movies and see movies basically for free. And they used to do like premieres of movies like a week before the movie came out. They would show the movie at the SLC.
Yeah, they had some good licensing deals where they would get really cool shit. They also do a lot of like classic movies. They do like Rocky Horror, which I don't give a fuck about. Wheeler's into, and a lot of other people are as well. But
I wasn't. It was more I'm part of the shadow cast for Rocky. I won't say that I'm 100% into it, but
yeah, whatever. Ever since high school, I had an ex-girlfriend who was so into Rocky Horror that it just like ruined it for me. It's like I could never give a fuck about Rocky Horror from this point on.
Well, you know what? You can't let her win.
I mean, it doesn't bother me. She can have that one. It's one movie.
It's a little
well, it is
little on the nose there.
Pioneer with the gay community.
Yeah, well. I don't think she was gay either. I don't know why it was so important to her.
Yeah, they did a 35mm rendition of Alien one Halloween, and I missed out on it. And I was pissed. And I think I missed out on it because of Rocky.
So I have a question. Do you guys seal your miniatures?
If I'm giving them to other people, I try to.
Yeah, like the one we did you sealed the one we did for Hammersticks, right?
No, I couldn't find my sealer.
Oh, okay. Just kidding. I mean, we totally sealed it, Hammersticks, if you're watching.
Just go over it with your own fucking clear coat.
He's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna just touch this mini. Oh my.
I mean, he has to
hands.
glue the axe back on because the axe would not stay in if it was going to be shipped. It came separated.
Ooh woo, my oily hands touching this mini. Ooh woo.
Yeah. But I think the couple ones that I made for like my girlfriend, I did some older ones for her that are sealed, which is really great that they are because they have like transparent shit. Sure.
Chris, just agree.
Yeah, I did some minis for her before she was playing with us. She had like other games that she had minis for.
Yeah, I remember when you were like, "Hey, can we play in our game?" And I was like, "Sure." And you were like, "She has experience." I was like, "I don't care. Just bring her in."
It's the love of
But sorry, I'm trying to choose which colors this brown wash goes
Is that
over.
Piccolo from the Dragon Ball Z?
From the live action one? Yeah,
The
basically.
live action Dragon Ball Z. Wow, it's all full circle here. It's Dream of Many Things.
It is. I'm here for it.
Are we here to talk about how Piccolo's a better dad than Goku?
I got the name right?
Yeah.
I thought I was joking.
I also like Piccolo's voice actor like a lot. He's just got... I trust him.
You know what I didn't
I
realize
trust him.
until I watched a video on it? Laura Bailey plays so many fucking
Yeah, she plays Trunks.
anime men.
Well, a lot of younger anime boys are played by women. And like, not even anime, but like
Like Bart
cartoons.
Simpson?
Yeah. Nancy
How
Cartwright.
many boys in animation period are played by Tara Strong?
That's fair. There
How
are
many everyone is played by Tara Strong? You're played by Tara Strong and you don't even know it.
How many grumpy old grizzly sounding men are played by John DiMaggio?
Or what is it? Troy Baker.
Yeah,
Barker.
Troy Baker. How many fucking games there are that Troy Baker's the headliner? People
There
are like,
was a show that we were watching. I don't remember what it was. It was like Gossip Girl or some fucking... It was some like teen soap opera show. And I was like... We're in the living room and Ashley and Kimmy are watching it. And I like whipped my head around and I was like, that's Nolan North! She's like, who? I'm like, well, I don't know how to explain who he is without... Because you don't fucking do nerd shit. Like... he was Deadpool in the video game. He was Nathan Drake. Like, you don't know these people. I could name 1,000 video game characters and none of them would mean anything to you.
ESO. I did not know that.
Oh, yeah, he's the fucking...
Michael Gabon or whatever his name is.
Yeah, the Prophet. The moment I picked up the game, I was like, oh, what's up, Dumbledore? Even looks like a grizzly Dumbledore.
Yeah, I was watching, this is what I was trying to tell you, because we were talking about skipping the dialogue in ESO, I was playing through the main storyline because I had finally finished some of the side quests that I wanted to. And one of the first little dungeon areas you go into, as the main storyline begins, one of like the cult members is voiced by Liam.
Yeah, just like standing in front of like the... Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. You're in Cold Harbor still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, baby.
Yeah, baby.
What's that?
What's what?
Sorry, Michael. What is the color scheme?
Sort
Matches
of
my
Chardalyn Draglin.
Yeah, matches
Draglin.
my Chardalyn.
What does the lilac have to do with it?
The light purple.
Yeah.
It's hard to match.
It's sort of on
colors.
his wings, I guess. Sort of.
It's hard to match color on the thing because I don't have a like, hey, this is the color of the Chardalyn dragon in like green RGB color numbers. So yeah, but he's like a very specific purple, and the purple that is just the natural purple on the computer doesn't match the purple that he is.
Hunter, do you want to hear something really dumb? I saw you take a sip of that, and I was like, alcohol. That just sounds real nice. And then I look down, and I'm putting my brush near my paint pot, which is about the size of a shot glass. And intrusive thoughts is just like, yep, down the hatch.
Would you like to try it?
What is it?
A bee's knee.
That means nothing to
A
me.
bee's Anisa.
It's alcohol.
It's got gin.
Smells like grapefruit.
Means
It's honey and lemon.
Rob would like it.
It's my favorite drink.
Just
I am
Tastes like
actually
grapefruit.
very upset. I didn't go buy a bottle of gin prior to this. I
Rob,
usually drink.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Right before, like literally hours before the stream started, I was like, all right, I have to come up with a good like entrance thing for Rob because he always comes up with good ones for me. So your bow, Rob, I was like, the Mines of Moria.
What's your
I
shirt?
gotta make a reference, and then
Rob shirt?
I was like,
Rob, what is your shirt?
Oh, so it is. I love this shirt. I actually had to change because my
Skeksis.
it's a Skeksis, so it's
Oh,
organic
dark
delving
crystal?
essence.
Fuck yeah.
I like
I really like that like typography style. That's my favorite shit.
Do you have? This is dumb.
Somewhere.
I have a red.
Somewhere. Not that one. This one.
Is it a red brown?
No. Red brown, you're looking for Gorgrunta fur. Or Gulliman flesh. Gulliman flesh right here.
Chris, did you know that when
Furries.
I
Yep.
was in elementary school, my dream job was to and the fact that you goes by its actual name.
Chris is good at that.
Well, I also mispronounce Gulliman flesh because it's not it's like Guiman it's like a fucking French word.
Do I look like somebody
It's
who knows how to
Gilliman.
pronounce things correctly?
Yeah,
Are you sure?
Gilliman's Island.
Yeah, it's Gilliman. It's based off Robot Gilliman. He's a character in.
I know he's a
Warhammer.
character, but I'm pretty sure it's pronounced like with
Well,
a
that's-
Y sound
well,
in there.
Well, one of the jokes is like people make up his name because nobody knows how to pronounce it. So it's like it's Robot Girly Man. Like.
Okay, because
No,
I've been convinced that I'm purposefully saying it wrong.
I think that's kind of like half the joke, but I'm 99.9% sure it's Gilliman. It's Robot Gilliman.
That's fucking hilarious.
It's
Because like
it's
half of
Gilliman's
these,
Island.
because Warhammer paints are based off of like in-game things, like in-lore things, and a lot of them, like, who fucking knows, who cares? Some of them are pretty easy, like Caliban, Seraphim, Retributor, like
Retributor.
Hex Wraith, Blood for the Blood God. Like, they're
Retributor?
easy names.
Yeah.
But there's some that's just like, yeah, that's a word.
That's how I feel about all of D&D. I'm
That's fair.
dyslexic, so trying to read words that I don't recognize are very weird. Speaking of being dyslexic, did you know that Wheeler gave me...
Nice.
Do you want to see?
Yeah. Nice.
I did the L, and then I went to do the other one while I was at work, and I was like, oh god.
I've made a
I
grave
made a
mistake.
mistake. And he's like, when I get home, I'll do that.
Do you have a light blue like this?
Not particularly. The best you might do is like lightly doing either maybe Soulstone if you do it really lightly.
Not the Talisar?
No. And definitely not this one either. Shake it up real well. Because that's more of a glaze.
Like a good 2-minute shake.
Pretty much. If you look at the bottom of that one, it's settled pretty hard.
Oh, yeah, this is a thick boy.
It should still be fine. Well, glazes...
I don't know the consistency.
Glazes are already super thin. But that one should be a lot lighter. Color-wise than the others. You'll be fine.
I thought that your Djinn was a snake lady. Which is a negative.
That's like a different scene from Aladdin, but yeah. We just rewatched the live-action Aladdin the other day.
How was it?
The same as it was before.
I think it's unnecessary. Specifically when I say unnecessary, I think like Disney's trying to be like, oh, women are cool, feminism, so they gave like her another song for absolutely.
I legitimately forgot that song existed until it started the second time, and I was like, oh yeah, this is a thing.
Happens.
I mean, the song kind of slaps, but like also,
it's.
She's a fucking Power Ranger, so I have a hard time.
She's also from one of the best DComs, i.e. Disney Channel.
Lemonade Mouth? Yeah, forgot about that one.
Which I love.
But I legit forgot that she was a Power... Like, I forgot she was in that, but I can't separate her from her being in Power Rangers.
In that same movie who, like, murdered somebody and got arrested? Wasn't the Red Power Ranger...
Also, for those of you who are joining us...
The Red Power Ranger in that one was Dacre Montgomery. He's Billy from Stranger Things.
This is my fiance.
Hi. I.e. Disney.
Hello, fiance.
Rob said hello.
I say, yeah, she didn't have headphones in, so
I can
we have to
only
relay
hear
everything.
2/3 of this conversation.
Actually, this was a great idea. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for suggesting to water it down. Yeah, good at painting. Good at everything.
This is the ugliest fucking picture of me. I'm disgusted. What's that face? I'm gonna print out cute pictures and put it. That's like the one photo you have of me on your PC is disgusting.
So you want to know one thing that I really enjoy about mask culture from COVID? Is that if people are trying to take pictures of me, half my face is covered.
You know, I was talking to Kimmy about your lack of photos, and I said that
I don't like being photographed.
You know, it's funny actually, Chris, because I think both of you saw. I did my my feral person photo shoot from this weekend,
which was really good.
Yeah, which was very
good.
Dude,
it was hilarious. Like I just had like the craziest fucking week last week, and I'm not gonna get into it, but it's like when we were having a fire and one of Stephanie's friends was like, oh man, we can get charcoal out of this burnt wood. So she gets it and she does like a thing, and I was like, I'm gonna go fucking insane with this because I just feel like going feral right now. And it's funny because it's like I have so many good pictures from that, but I refuse to change my Facebook picture because it's like I have a picture of like the TableTroop folks. So I don't know if have I told you the story, Wheeler, about Kai and Carly?
When they came?
Yeah.
Yeah, you told me about this.
Gross.
Yeah, like
not like that.
But like, yeah, it's like the craziest fucking story. If like you want to know how ride or die our D&D group is, like my friends are mental, but it's like I refuse to change that picture, even though it's like a mask picture of me in a hat, so it's like essentially just like my eyes, because like I can't replace it because it's like that picture is just so
it holds weight. It's got memory.
Yeah. Although we are all gonna be going on a camping trip in early June, so
I know I was invited.
Yeah, which sadly, apparently, no one else can come to because the campground's limiting it to 6 people, and there's exactly 6 of us.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
so
it's good.
like-
Yeah, it's good that you guys are able to go, but it sucks that more people aren't able to.
Yeah, so, well, I'm maybe hoping to make it like an annual thing down the road, is like, just like doing a fucking rager for TableTroop.
I mean, do it. Hell yeah.
So, to make it actually about mini painting and chill. So, other than dry brushing this guy's boots, this guy is done.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
This guy has
I'm remembering to cover this guy's base before I stop anything.
Because he was able to buy blue pants.
Yeah, I got a couple more things to do.
I always worry about doing blue for pants on miniatures, because even though like blue cotton exists and like you can dye things blue,
Denim.
I just worry so much that it looks like jeans.
I don't care.
Your jeans to have shorts.
I will
John Cena.
Don't make me put jorts on this guy, because I will.
But like specifically spelled D-J-O-R-T.
This guy invented Jinko. Like D-G-I-N-N-C-O.
As a note, I do appreciate that joke.
Thank you.
I'm just focused on the guy I know.
I've been thinking of so many dad jokes that you're not. And it makes me feel like there's no point.
Yeah, I'm not on Twitter enough for like my quick jokes to really go anywhere. Because I'm just sort of not on social media for the most part. Like,
That is A-okay. More power to you.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have to jump back on that bandwagon because I really want to like promote the channel, and like that's the way to do it.
Yeah, it is difficult to have a social media that you want to promote without having a social media to promote it with. Yeah, he's getting there. I might just let the contrast paint do its work and not put too much highlight on it because it naturally kind of highlighted it.
I think it's highlight.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, now that this guy is done, I gotta get him on his fancy base.
I am going to do some work on this guy's face.
I know I'm definitely back in a mini painting groove when I just like
Like a
want to buy
watermelon
so
one?
many minis.
I like the watermelon one.
yeah,
Yeah.
Watermelon Red Bull was last year's summer edition that got to stick around permanently as the new red edition, replacing the cranberry one.
Oh,
Do
that's
you have a
good.
gray contrast by chance?
The white.
Oh, the apothecary white. Beautiful.
Which might not work
I'll be
too
right back
well
for
because
a
it might
minute
not
or two.
actually be darker, but
What if you
Okay.
mix that with the little black one?
No.
Right.
if anything, I might just null oil that. Like,
His hat? Sorry, turban?
well, I thought you were talking about the smoke of his legs.
No, the smoke I am going to go back over. I will probably actually do a null oil on it and then come back over with like the lighter gray.
I would like to understand why you just like a dot on the black one.
Black is a very, very strong color.
So a dot is too much?
It can be at times.
You guys use very tiny brushes, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's more about mixing ratios. Black, I just stay away from it because it, like, you can get a darkness from other colors that usually doing other stuff will have a much richer effect without it just being black. Because black can also mute your colors in a really poor way.
Yeah, but specifically within his goal, it didn't seem like it would be a terrible.
I've also never used the apothecary white, so I was okay giving it a shot. And
It's great on actual like white because it, like a white dragon, it's really great for it. I somehow fucked up the wash on his tunic and like let it like tore away in the spots where it piled up, and I haven't touched it, so I don't know how it did that, but it looks really awful right now.
I'm getting ready.
Also, thank you for those of you who are still with us. We got about 10 or so minutes left, and then we'll be calling it a night. But thank you for joining us. If you haven't already, please follow the channel. Please consider subscribing if you got the money for it. We are going to raid someone tonight, so please stick around. Just spread the love. I understand if you want to go to bed, you don't have to stay for the entire time. You don't have to be there for all of it, but we like to share in the TTRPG space with our fellow TTRPG creators.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
You don't have to go home, but
That's
you
the
can't
cool one.
stay here. Literally everyone's who used to be a president, the Find Me Alpha joke when chapter was over. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Alright, I have returned.
Hello, welcome back. We got about 10 minutes left.
Oh my god.
I know. Getting down to the last little bits.
I'm not ready for it to be over. I want to paint.
Question: when was the last time New Rick and Morty came out?
They actually just announced season 5. Like, there was a
They
trailer
announced
for
it, but when was the last one that actually came out? Was it
Good question. A year or so ago?
damn while ago?
Yeah. I mean, we're also in a world where we had to wait, like, forever to get season 4, so... What color should his eyes be? What color should the eyes?
You should do purple or yellow. Purple! First instinct. Damn.
Alright, well, you know me, I'm gonna do a little bit of white and then do that contrast over it. What?
Guess what's opening in Tallahassee on Appalachia Parkway?
What?
Aldi's.
Yeah, we already knew that.
Alright. Fuck me, I guess.
That's been in progress for like a while.
I'm not in the
Yeah,
grocery
Back
store.
when-
it was under assumption that the old Lucky's lot was going to be where it is, but they haven't taken the Lucky sign down, which makes me think that they haven't sold the property. They just cut down on its use, and are probably going to bring it back up whenever it gets back up to spec.
Mm.
Can't I be excited about one?
Oh, of course you can.
Yeah, Aldi is bigger out in Rhode Island. We used to shop at Aldi all the time.
Yeah, because you guys are like right on the border, right?
Well, I used to live in Rhode Island before the breakup, so but Billy's about 45 minutes away.
For a second, I thought you were talking about like a secession. I was like, wait, what the fuck happened to Rhode Island?
Oh yeah, you know, Rhode Island rebelled.
is its own country now.
You should show Chris then.
Dude, the loss of Dell's Lemonade would be shattering.
Chris, you'll appreciate this.
Half of ice cream.
Funeral hoe.
Yeah. It's feral hoe is what it's.
Where's that purple? This blue would have been good for his skin.
I mean, it's gonna tone it really differently. It's gonna make it much more greenish.
Where's your purple contrast?
Somewhere.
This one?
No, it's right here.
I'm just blind. I will
Tell me that guy doesn't look like Tom Holland.
He does. Yeah, all these are pretty dope. We have one back home. But
I was gonna say, actually, back in
Cheap,
Winter Park, I think we
quality
have one.
groceries, and you get to put a quarter inside of your cart. What more could you ask for? They care about their employees. That's pretty.
Yo, this is ass. There's just a lot of ass. Ugh.
Like, are we talking actual, like, Djinn booty or what?
No. Oh, fuck. I fucked that up even more. These last couple steps, getting him, like, the wash on his back, like, pooled really heavily in some areas, and then when it dried, it just, like, ripped off. So I've got these just, like, pockets that I want to go back over and just fucking redo the entire tunic, because one, it ended up really dark, so I'm just going to have to sort of rebase that area and do it again later. Will I come back to it? Maybe eventually. But it went from being a nice, like, pale linen color to being, like, this darker leather. Because the wash I used on it was really dark, and then I used a second coat of the wash when it started to peel, and now it's all ruined.
I'm actually kind of okay with him like this. I don't think I need to do much more.
So, if you guys want to see the finished product before the base, or the coating, that's him.
So
He's got his
pretty.
fancy, nifty base, highly detailed with a stone statue. There's skulls and all sorts of shit.
Hell yeah! Damn, he's got a chunky ass sword.
Oh yeah.
Thick boys
Like
wield thick weapons.
Let me actually see if I can find like a D&D model to scale to actually show you the size of him.
There's-
So let me see if I can
there's
find
money.
one. It shouldn't be too hard.
It looks good. The glaze give him a little bit of a gloss on his body, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah, glazes do that. That's one you'll definitely want to, like, hit with a matte varnish to bring it back down. That's probably also because that glaze is not very well mixed. But I think that one specifically is a glaze that's meant for gems, so it does have a gloss to it.
So yeah, so I got something to scale it to. So
Oh yeah, he's like big.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's like halfway between ogre. Well, that's like a D. That's like a 5e ogre. They're like almost
I would
hill
say.
giant size.
This is my pretty finished product. He's a little close to this.
Nice.
Probably won't be able.
He's got some stabs.
Yeah.
He's got some good stabs there.
This guy might be cool to switch out his weapons. Like for one of them.
Yeah. I like the. I didn't think I was gonna like the air that I did well, but I think it fits pretty halfway decently with his with the sculpt, like the kind of gray aspect of the smoke.
Yeah, I really wish that this is one that they would have done in like translucent.
Yeah, same.
For the
When
bottom
I saw
part.
it, I was a little upset about it. But
Which, yeah, you know, whatever.
Solidify this down. Oh. I think we are at time. Nope, we got 2 minutes.
I'm honestly gonna probably keep painting a little bit after we go off. To
Go
be
for
honest,
it.
because
This is just the end of our stream, not the end of painting. Just want to get face.
Yeah, my guy I sort of went the other direction with. I can't see where he is on screen because the
There's a
thing
delay.
hasn't caught up. Is he there? Is he there? Hard to tell.
Hard to tell.
Hard to
Maybe.
tell. But yeah, green skin, some like pale and yellow accents with some gold mixed in. Much darker smoke, closer to black, that's got a lot of purple in it to sort of offset the green. I do want to do more of a gradient between like closer to black at the bottom and then mixing towards the green. Granted, purple and green don't really blend together. That'll be like a muddy brown. But it's also pretty close to black to begin with, so that's something I'll have to go back on later. And I definitely did not finish his face. He's highlighted, and he's sort of tabletop ready, so he's fine from 3 feet away.
Yeah, mine's tabletop ready too. I wouldn't sell this anymore. I mean, I like him. I think he looks pretty decent.
It ended up being a much harder mini than it might have looked at the beginning, because there's a lot of unclear elements to it. Like,
yeah.
His whole torso and chest area, until there's color on it, it's really hard to pick the pieces apart. Like, he's got layers of fabric and, like, these little bells and shit. Or, like, little...
doohickeys. Yeah, those
little
were a
jewelry
little annoying
bits.
to do. But, I mean, I like it. I like the way my guy turned out. It looks pretty close to the picture that is on there. If not almost identical to it, which is why I based it off of that, so...
My fingers always get so messy when I...
Yeah, but I think that's going to do it for tonight. So, thank you everyone who has joined us. Like I said, we're going to raid someone, but give us a quick second to get everything done. I've already stated all the stuff. Follow us on our socials. Thank you. Follow the channel. All that doodad. Thank you, Rob, for joining us.
Yeah, I mean, it's all like when I was doing my stream, I was like, what's the one thing I might miss because of COVID more than anything else? And I just missed hanging out and painting.
Yeah.
Like that might be actually the thing I miss the most, is just hanging out with friends and painting miniatures, because it's like my motivation has been in the garbage.
Yeah.
Same.
No, I know that feeling. Well, we'll do this again. I've got all the setup for it, so I mean, yeah. Thanks.
I'm free most Wednesdays, I'll have you know, and I'm thinking my paint days I might try and shoot for Thursdays and Sundays.
Okay.
But I haven't decided yet.
Okay.
Our old painting days.
Yeah, our old painting days. Well, again, thank you for joining us tonight. You're gonna close it out with us. Do you have anything coming up?
So actually, I'm not sure if we're streaming D&D Friday. We haven't decided if we're gonna be doing one of our last couple sessions for our Michal campaign, or if we're gonna be doing off-camera stuff for that. But other than that, it's gonna be painting. I might paint tomorrow. There's a very high chance I'll be doing that. Pretty strong chance I am painting Sunday as well.
Okay.
Trying to think if there are any other shout-outs I really want to give. But I think those are primarily it.
Okay.
TableTroop's in a bit of a rebuilding, refocusing mode.
Hell yeah.
So,
Okay.
dope.
Yeah. Well, all we have post that is we don't have anything on Friday this week. We may have something tomorrow, but I don't know if it'll happen. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday, we are doing one of the Candlekeep Mysteries that was planned for a few weeks ago. I will be DMing that. I'm super excited. Billy's going to be joining us on the channel. I've got some Dwarven Forge maps set up for it, which I'm really excited to use. And by that time, I'll have my camera arm, so I'll be able to give a better overhead look at it. But yeah, other than that, just make sure to follow us and to keep up to date on what's going on. Other than that, thank you everyone for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and throw the raid out with those of you who are here. Have a great night, and we will for sure see you next time.
Yeah. Everyone have a fantastic night and week.
Everyone, go get vaccinated if you haven't already.
Yes.
Enter the network.
Good night.
Magneto powers.